Large SUVs that can comfortably sit the entire family, including on the third row, don't come often. And less often do they come with a premium looking exterior and interior. But finally, this car over here can do all of that. This one right here is the 2022 Peugeot 5008 SUV. Today I'm going to show you around this car and I'm also going to give it a test drive, so stay tuned. Exterior wise, the Peugeot 5008 gives you a very tasteful and distinct design. So starting off with the hood, you get these two creases on either sides that meet towards these LED headlights. And just below these ones are these fang-like DRLs. I also love how there's a lot of these lines and just these accent pieces just below those and towards the middle. Not only do you get your 5008 badge, your monogram right there, there is also this Peugeot Lion just showing itself and presenting itself to whoever you will arrive to. This is what Peugeot calls their frameless radiator grille, and it looks absolutely distinct. And I also absolutely love just how nice this silver trim is down below to give an accent to this black car right here. Towards the side of the 5008, although this car is officially considered to be an SUV by Peugeot, ground clearance isn't the highest. It's still not a body on frame car, so this one is more of a crossover SUV. Nothing wrong with that, and in fact your ground clearance is more than enough for Manila roads. And we actually brought this car over here to Driftwood's Action Park, and it can easily take on the dirt roads over here. Now, to break up the flat styling on the side, Peugeot does go a little bit more avant-garde, so they do give you a lot of chrome pieces over here by the door, up here as well, and even your roof rails and your side mirrors are all covered in chrome. And if you look towards the hood, there is even a tiny piece of chrome over there, which looks really nice. Rims 18 inches covered in Continental tires, and towards the back there is a really big rear quarter window so that your third row seats won't feel claustrophobic, and your overhang is actually quite short as well. Towards the rear of the 5008, and the design over here is just like the front. It is really very distinct looking and very avant-garde. So aside from your Peugeot badge, I even spell out Peugeot for you, just to remind the world that you are driving a beautiful French Peugeot. Now, up top is a small spoiler, a wiper, and I love how you have a reverse camera, this metal looking step sill, as well as reverse sensors. But what I absolutely don't love though are those dual fake exhausts down below. Your lights, they are really nice too, smoke looking, and your turn signals, they are also sequential. And there's three ways to open this one, so you can either press the key, press a button over here, or you can just have the key with you and kick under this, and this tailgate would open up. That way, if you're carrying groceries, it's not going to be a hassle. Over here, when you have the third row folded down, you get ample storage. You can even raise those, which will limit your storage a lot. However, what's cool about this is that not only can you fold down these second row seats as well to give you a lot more storage room, but you can also remove those third row seats and turn them into great picnic chairs. Powering this Peugeot 5008 is this 1.6 liter twin scroll turbo engine, which makes 165 horsepower and 240 Nm of torque. That may not sound like much, but this car actually feels quite nimble. This is mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission. Inside the Peugeot 5008, we check the door thud. It sounds pretty solid. I love that sound. Now, once you're in here, you might think that the exterior is already pretty good looking, but the interior is even better looking. You really do feel like you're sitting inside the cockpit of a jet fighter. In fact, Peugeot calls this the iCockpit design. Your small steering wheel makes it very agile and easy to turn. Flat bottom and flat top as well. Huge paddle shifters by the side. And instead of having like your regular digital instrument cluster, this 12-inch screen right here is set at a position that really gives you more of a heads-up display style. It's really easy to read. Towards the center of the car is a 10-inch touchscreen, and while it is incredibly responsive with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, there is a little bit of a learning curve. Below that are these buttons, which look like a Lamborghini, and then you also get these really nice trims in this car. So instead of your usual piano black, you get cloth. Yes, cloth. You get cloth all over the side and even towards the center. More of that jet fighter feel. Very solid, no rattles, no creaks inside this cabin, and this high quality plastic towards the middle instead of piano black. Again, at least it will not scratch. Your gear selector, it is also like the throttle that you would get with a helicopter. It is really quite nice. Your drive mode selection over here, electronic parking brake, sport mode, 2 cup holders. They're kind of tiny though, but on the side it makes up for it because there are huge jug holders over there. Towards the middle, there is this center armrest, and if you open it, there is a wine holder inside. I kid you not, there is a wine holder. The seats, no matter if you're big or small, you'll find them incredibly comfortable because the bolsters are great, even the thigh support, and they are power adjustable for the driver's side and the passenger side. Now, a lot of cars get panoramic sunroof nowadays, but like this one right here, it gets a panoramic sunroof, is also slightly tinted, and there are even ambient lighting, not just all around the cabin of the car, but also around the panoramic sunroof. Really quite interesting. When we get on over to the second row, we check the door thud. It's solid, but it's not as solid sounding as the front. And once you are back here, legroom is great because of this recess, and I mean the space is just crazy back here. Even your headroom is pretty good no matter how tall you are. If you do want to go on towards the center, you feel as if you really do have your own seat, which makes it a lot more comfortable, and the floor is also flat, so seating 3 people back in here is incredibly comfortable. You get your own air vents back here, a USB port, and you can also adjust your fan speed for those air vents. Now, what else do I like back here? There is a jug holder on the side. You can even recline these seats, and they can even slide forward by a lot actually, and backwards. There is a center armrest right here with this weird cubby probably to put your phone, but if you do open this, you get 2 more cup holders. Hidden cubbies wherein you can put some contraband inside, or if you want to store some snacks or extra bottles of water. Getting to the third row of the Peugeot 5008 can only be done through the passenger side. So in the case of left-hand drive vehicles, it is on the right side. And once you're back here, provided that you ask nicely and you tell the second row passengers to slide their seats forward by around halfway, because anyway, they get great legroom. And once you are back here, your legroom is pretty good. Even your headroom is great. Even if you're a little bit on the tall side, and even your feet room, it's pretty good too. And you won't feel claustrophobic because of these large rear quarter windows. So originally, the Peugeot 5008 was an MPV, but for this body era, Peugeot decided to call it an SUV. And what do SUVs do? Well, they go off-road. And now we are taking this on a very, very light off-road track here in Driftwood's Action Park. The steering is incredibly light because of the electronic power assisted steering, and it is so easy to turn here in the off-road track. And just, you know, I mean, the car, it is front wheel drive, so don't take this into really extreme situations. But for a light track such as this one, when you're going camping, if you really are in a ditch and you do have to take this car off-road, then no problem, the Peugeot 5008 will easily do that. On the way home now from Driftwood's Action Park, it is just so relaxing. The seats and just the general ergonomics of the cabin is just superb. The way my hands just instinctively reach onto these nicely positioned steering wheel, and how small they are as well, and even the gauges wherein I don't really have to look down that much to read them. It's just clear. Everything is crystal clear. The seats themselves are just so comfortable. Even if you take this car for a really long journey, it just is simply very relaxing. The engine, although it is only a 1.6 liter twin turbocharged engine, it is very much preppy. It's very responsive. The throttle response is also responsive. The transmission, the 6-speed, is also really responsive, and it never ever hunts for a gear. It just knows which gear it wants to be in. But if you do want to change gears by yourself, then use these paddle shifters, and they are also pretty responsive. Wind noise and tire noise are kept to a bare minimum. And even though that engine is a rather small engine, there is really not much vibrations that you will feel. Suspension-wise, it also holds itself incredibly well. It doesn't feel playful in any way, so it just remains very much planted on the highway. This car has an incredibly quick steering ratio, and although it is super light and easy to use inside the city, when you do take it out on the highway, it does tighten up a lot, giving you a very reassuring and stable feel. Going back to the throttle response, the Peugeot 5008 actually comes with a sport mode, but honestly, it doesn't really do a big difference. But if you do press it, I guess the throttle response does tighten up just a little bit. It gets a little bit more responsive, a little bit sharper, but you know, leaving this car into its normal mode and you will still have a blast. So now we go on to the exact price, which is 2.26 million pesos. That may sound like much a couple of years ago, but nowadays, with mid-size SUVs of Japanese brands costing upwards of 2.4, 2.5 million pesos, the Peugeot 5008 suddenly makes an even better argument. And what more, you can carry 7 people in this car very much comfortably, which those mid-size SUVs usually can't. So if you are looking for a 7-seater that is not only refined, very avant-garde and greatly designed, then the Peugeot 5008 is one of those SUVs that you should definitely consider.